Hey guys, it's Saf here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and we have got a new Heroes Path going on here for the JEROBOAM event. This is the kind of the last thing that the Fusion really has going on. Now you do need to do this, I believe you can't skip this at all if you're doing the Fusion. It's kind of replaced the Summon Rush that we would normally have had in a Fusion. But you only really need 10 fragments. You don't need all 20 if you want to do all of the other events going on, right? So you can either do all the 20 and save yourself 5 or 10 fragments, depending on what you want to do. I think a pretty good option if you want to try and find a balance. You don't want to do champion training because if you're like me, you've just come out of the deck of fates and champion training is the worst thing you want to do. You know, you could probably get up to 3100 here rather than the 6100 if you didn't want to go all the way, and save yourself some shards and just get the one key. Now you need 4 keys. I messed this up originally when I first looked at it. I had to readjust it. They've put an extra key in for the fragments. You also can get a soul on this path, but I will say it looks pretty pricey. We're gonna have a look at the breakdown in a moment to get both of them. So that is something we need to check on here as well. Some mythical tomes and 3 legendary books as usual. There's a lot going on, but generally speaking, in terms of how you will sort of take on this path, you can take any of the top row and any of the middle row. Probably the mythical stone or maybe the charms are pretty worthwhile. I wouldn't recommend the XP boost of the core hammers unless you're really low. Take those, and then you basically need to get, depending on what you want. Now if you just want the soul, which I can't imagine that would be the case, then you know you need 3 keys, and the way they've split the keys is the middle row here has got 1 and the bottom row has got 2. So if you're going anywhere deep, you're probably going to need 2 keys minimum. So if you're going for just the 10 fragments, you absolutely do not need to go down the severe path here. You can absolutely take the middle row, then go the right hand side and pick up the 1 key, and then pick up the other key with the Chaos Dust route, right? So you don't have to go the 9000. It's cheaper than going 9, 10, and 2 to go 2.5, 5, and 1. And that will give you the 2 keys to get you the 10 fragments. That's if you're going to do the full champion training. If you're not going to do the full champion training, but you only want 1 of them, you want the 3rd key, then you're going to have to go down for 2 keys anyway, which probably means that, you don't have to go the 2.5, 5, and 1. You could go the 9, 10, and 2 and go and get your 3rd fragments. If you want all of it, you're going to have to basically do both sides. But that's what the main thing to take away from this is whether you're doing the soul or the fragments or just the fragments, go the right hand side so that you have the option to pivot over to get this 4th key. That's what most people should do. If you're doing all of the fragments, go here, get the stone, come down, get the 2 keys, get the extra key on the right, and then you've got 4 keys straight down the middle to get your fragments. It's a bit of a complicated path, took me a few times to look at it, but that's how I'd recommend you do it. Now, just before we jump into the breakdown, what is the kind of points available here? Well, we've got summoning champions and we've also got dungeon divers. They haven't affected the dungeon diver points. I did notice the primal shards are down from about 2700 from the last Heroes Path breakdown. Now that just could be that other breakdown was higher than normal, but the primal shards took a little bit of a hit. Most people shouldn't be pulling primal shards out of a ×2 anyway, so I wouldn't be doing that. But yeah, sacred shards and void shards are the way you're going to be doing this. Generally, from a math point of view, void shards tend to be better slightly, but sacreds are the way you're going to do it. Now, obviously, I've got loads of sacreds that I've saved up from when I was waiting for the deck fate, which obviously didn't become a summoning. So we've got plenty of sacreds. I would like this Onryo Ieyasu. I cannot really say the name. It's very difficult to do. It looks really, really cool. For some reason, he's got a knife through his mouth. A bit awkward. But he is a bit of a monstrous damage dealer, honestly. He's got a Trunder-like effect. Not Trunder itself, because Trunder we know can crit temporarily, not for long. We don't really know what's happening with Trunder. Well, I do. I think it's still going to be broken. That's what my math is telling me. But it's a very Trunder-like. 25% all gets spread over to all enemies. This adds up, honestly, in terms of like wave content, in terms of like arena. This will be quite a lot of damage when you pair it with an A3 that ignores 50% defense and stone skin and shield and strengthen. Really strong in the current meta. You've also got the A2 here that deals 10% more damage depending on how many buff and debuff on the target. So you can get up to 100% more damage. And we've also got an A1 here that places 1 extra hit if they're under a buff and 2 extra hits if they're under a buff and they're from the undead hordes. Now, that's not so easy to do in Hydra anymore because the only buff that you can really depend on is the Serpent's Will, and that's going to be at a 100% reduction going forward when the updates come in. But if they steal any buffs, you might be able to gain some usage from it. If not, you just get a double hit, which is still pretty strong if you ask me. It is still pretty strong. This is really good into Arena. It's going to do a lot of damage to someone like a Siphi. It is going to absolutely wreck a Siphi, and you get an extra turn as well. You also got a block revive on this. If it kills someone, it doesn't have any conditions, just block revives. He's a very strong damage dealer. Very strong. I've seen him in some Hydra teams, does really well. I would quite like him over in Acrizia. And of course, the second Newt would be brilliant. So we've got some options here. We're going to pull from it later on in the video. I'm going to do the breakdown first, and then we'll pull for what I want to achieve. So if you've never seen me do one of these path breakdowns, I basically pull out all the information. I work out how many points it takes to get to the desirable paths. There's normally about four different things you might want, depending on where you are in the game and what you're focusing on. We pull out all these things, we work out how many points they are, and then we map it against the points that you will get from doing the different activities to work out effectively, you know, with the shards that I've got, how much dungeon divers would it take, how much dungeon divers on its own, how much shards on its own, so you can make a judgment before you go in. I am a day late with this video. I've had a very busy Friday. I just didn't get around to being able to record this and getting it out, but I'm hoping I can get this out as soon as I can on Saturday. I'm recording it really, really late Friday night, so I'm hoping I can get it out. So if you've already summoned, it's kind of annoying, but this is what this path breakdown is meant to be able to do. So you can basically use it to assess how many more points you're going to need. So firstly, we map out the points here. I pull all the different stars out. There's currently a cost of 201,500 here. It's quite inexpensive, but it's pretty average. And then we need to work out what paths we want. So I'm suggesting here that we probably have a path for all the fragments, 10 of the fragments, the soul, or both. Now, if you're going for both, that's going to be quite expensive, as you can see. Getting 10 fragments is not too bad. It's 26,500. That's about what you probably would get for 10 fragments on a summon rush. But you would obviously get about 15 to 20 potentially. So all in all, it's an expensive hero's path, right? It's not cheap. It's not cheap to do it. If you're going for the fusion, that is the case. Now, in terms of summons math, like I said, they have modified the primal shards a little bit. But I don't know if that's because the last one was slightly higher. I'd have to go back and check. I'm pretty sure 1800 is about average. It didn't feel off when I put those numbers in. I feel like the last one was boosted up. So what we're looking at here is if we want the Jeroboam 10 fragments, the minimum you need, it's about 6 sacreds, 35 voids. Voids generally will work out more pricely cost effective, not as good as they used to be since primals tend to be the best in terms of like direct money transfer if you were just to buying shards outright. But most people would be looking at this going, oh, I can do it with ancients or something. To be honest, 88 ancients is not terrible considering all things. It's not a large amount to get your 10 fragments, but it is, you know, still quite expensive, but I don't think it's so expensive that it's egregious in any particular way, right? 6 sacreds is normally what you would need in summon rush. 6 to 8 sacreds normally on a summon rush. They're asking you to deliver 6 here. That gives you the fusion. That seems pretty average on point for me. There's not, you know, obviously you would get rewards in the summon rush. There's an argument about quality of rewards, but effectively the resources you require to get the champion looks to be about the same. If you want to go and save yourself an event, you're going to have to double up. It's about 12 sacreds. And then if you want the soul as well as the champion, it is 30 sacreds. It is a lot. I would not recommend the soul here because I think it's just too much. Right, I know the soul is important. You can maybe get a 3-star if you feel like you've got enough points. This would be to go all the way to the 5-star. It's not worth the 5-star. It's just too expensive. I know you get the 60 or the 75 accuracy. It's just a heck of a lot of sacreds for a champion that you, unless you absolutely have like a huge amount of progress you're going to get from it. I can't see the value of this. It's so many sacreds. Now, in terms of dungeon divers, what we do here is the points remain the same. We pull them out and then we map them against the drop rates in the dungeon. And what that allows us to do is generate the average amount of coins you're going to be able to get depending on the type of artifacts. And then we add all those up, which basically means even though you can't always get a 6-star mythical, a 5-star legendary, all these things, if we were to average the run across certain difference, this is how much you would generally get. What it generally works out is stage 20 is always the most efficient in all of these dungeon events. Always dungeon divers, it's always stage 20, is always going to be the most efficient because of the energy breakpoint and the amount of points per thing. It'll never be the highest per run, but it will always be the best efficiency. So what we can do here is we can pull this out into this spreadsheet view here. So we've got this calculator. This is something you can use. You can make a copy. If you go to file, make a copy. And what you can do is you can say, okay, I'm going for the Jeroboam. I've got 4 sacreds. And what it will do is it will recalculate this row to give you an idea of how much energy you're going to need to do to be able to achieve the remaining fragments. So in order for you to get 8,500, we're talking 272 runs. It's about 4,000 energy. This is why you really have to summon, right? Each individual sacred shard is worth quite a lot. If you didn't summon a single thing, it's 13,000 energy. You're probably not going to do this via Dungeon Divers, right? It's not the way it's designed. It's really meant to basically be a summoning event with a little bit of extra Dungeon Divers. That's the way to look at it. So, but you can use this to offset it with different voids. So like if I've got like 10 voids, I got like 40 ancients and 1 sacred, then cool, I need 12,000 energy, 80 runs on average, and that will get it done for me. So you can use this to your advantage however you want. It's fully accurate now. I've double checked it after I made a mistake. Thankfully to my community who checked this before it went out and was like, oh, I think you've got a little error, and it's because I missed 1 key. I thought it was 3 keys on both. It's 4 keys for the fragments. So that is the path. As I said, it's expensive beyond the 10 fragments. If we look at it from a how much would they normally ask you to deliver in a sacred, in sort of a summon rush to get the fragments, that's about the same, right? They're normally about 6 to 8 sacreds to get the fragments to get your summon rush done. This one, they're asking for about 6. That will get the summon rush done, right? That'll get you champion. So that is about the same. But as I think a lot of people say in the comments, yeah, but you normally get extra rewards. Maybe you get extra fragments. You can skip some events. True. That's always the case. I'm just giving you what's the minimum you need to be able to get the champion. It's about the same as a summon rush. I will put the link in the description, the pinned comment of this video to that specific calculator. You can make a copy. You can use it however you want if you haven't done this event so far. Now, I have been doing the fusion. I'm up to, let's see, 65 fragments. We've got a little bit left over. I've got, I think, 5 over here. That will get me to 70. We've also got the Odin trial. Thankfully, there isn't anything in. I should do it, but I don't think I will. We've got 5 here to do in the Ice Golem. That will be another 75, 80. So I need to get 20 fragments. Now, I could do the champion training. I will be honest, I'm so burnt out with training after doing that Deck of Fate events. Or I could just pull all 12. Like, I could just pull 12. I've got enough sacreds. I think that's what I'll probably do and just skip the champion training event so I don't have to do it because I'm a bit worn out. That Deck of Fate got me. So, and to be honest, it's a pretty good progressive. Like, Newt Warmaster are great options. I actually don't have 2 of these champions, which is Warmaster and Hefrak, but I would much prefer a second Newt. I don't have one of him. I am going to pull my voids first though, just because if I can get this Onryo, what a great option. There's not much point me pulling ancients because I've just hit mercy, so that's really difficult on a progressive, but sacreds, we'll see what we get. So I'm going to pull 12 voids to begin with, and then I'll pull about 8 sacreds. So we'll see what we get. I would still love to get some whispers and Shamaels epics here. That's what I'm after. It's probably going to be 10 rares knowing my luck. That would just be the case, you know. But it is going to be 10 rares, unless we get an epic last minute. Of course we didn't. It's 10 rares. You love to see it. But I still need epics for like Whisper and Shamael. I just cannot get them. I really want to get a +4 Whisper. That's what I've been waiting to do. A +4 Whisper, fully mapped out, fully decked out. That is what I've been waiting for. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So I'm going to pull 5 and we'll see where we get to. Because I'm going to go the full path down for the fragments. I don't care about the soul, but I'll get the fragments. So we got 5 sacred shards here. Let's pull these, see what we get. We've got another. I've pulled about 20 of these Balthuses. Got 4 more. Are we going to get a legendary? Let's see. No, that's an epic. We probably won't. Honestly, I come into these events almost like I'm exchanging shards for a currency. I'm not really getting champions. I did get trolled in the live stream that I did the other day with a Teela after I got a 6-star Teela Soul. Already had Teela, so it's totally useless. But hey, it trolled me. And it looks like it's trolling me again. 5 sacreds. Do we get anything? No. Okay, so we pulled 12 voids, 5 sacreds. Franox absolutely hits, by the way. One of the craziest single target abilities in the game, this. It hits really hard. Definitely try it out for fun. It is a great fun ability to use. So we've got 31,000. Let's just pick a random one. I think I'll take that. We're going to go down the left here. It's the first thing we're going to do because we need at least 4 keys, so we might as well go all the way down here. Okay, so that gives us an idea. I'm quite far off still, right? So we might as well pull a few more. The 12 voids would have saved me a couple of, maybe 2 or 3 sacreds. Oh, we got a Phoenix. We're starting to see the times 25 come through. We'll get a +4 Phoenix at this rate, hopefully. Deacon, that's not the Phoenix we want. We'll pull down to like 16 and we'll see where we get. We are getting all epics. Ooh, a Misread Diethy. That's really big. That is my second Misread Diethy. I've been waiting for a Misread Diethy, a second one, for so long. We finally got one. What a dream. William Wallace meets Legolas is finally a second one. 2 Diethys is so useful in some Cintrano stages. It's really useful. It's a great pull. That's basically a legendary. We finally get a legendary. Oh, and it's Scourge. No. Not a Scourge. Oh my god. Not a Scourge. I just got the guy from a fusion. Not a Scourge. Well, such is the case. Well, we'll get the rest of the keys here. We'll unlock this. There's some 5 fragments. Another 5 fragments. Use the key. I think we're not far from being... I think we might need 1 more sacred shard. Yeah, like we need... we need 1 more sacred shard. Okay, so it's cost us 10 sacreds and 12 voids. Pretty good. We didn't get what I really would have wanted, which was another newt. I might pull a few more over the weekend. I don't know, because we have got like a ×20, but it's difficult to get them, you know. It's difficult to get the boost on a progressive, right? The progressive is just almost like a bait for you to keep going. But yeah, we'll see. We've got, you know, the fragments are done. That's the key thing. The key thing is the fragments are done. Now I just have to finish off the extra events that we've got. I can skip the training completely, thankfully. But we did get a Scorid. One of the things I did get, though, which is really good, is another Diethy. I'm pretty sure that's my only the second Diethy I've ever got. So that's huge. So he's definitely going to get built. Not +1. I actually burnt one for +1. How stupid was I? I should never do that. Always get 2 Diethys. They're super good. So I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to level him. I'm pretty sure I can boost my Seeker, though. Another level, which is great. We can get, so, you know, closer to the highest crit damage on the server. That was that guy, you know. I don't really have a use for a second Scorid unless I can make a demon spawn. Oh, well, that's actually quite big. Demon spawns have got a +1. Now, are there any legendaries and demon spawns that I'm actually using? Let's have a look. Well, I'm not using Lix. I'm not using Scorid, Drexar, Candrathon, Sisia, Crutraxa, Helicarth, Duchess, Mortu, or Vassal. But we will be getting Lamasu soon. So actually, that's great. That's really good. In hindsight, that is fantastic. That is not the worst pull I've ever had, because he absolutely can go into my Faction Guardians and finish that off. Brilliant. What an excellent thing. I'm pretty close to finishing a lot of Faction Guardians. For some reason, I've got a bit unlucky with Ogrins, and Lizards are still a bit short. But other than that, we're looking good. And obviously, the newer factions, it's always a lot harder to get legendaries from the newer factions. Shadowkin, particularly, I just only have Kyokus, apparently. So that is quite difficult. There is a challenge down here to like max out each 15 chambers within the Guardian ring. It's quite hard to do. Unless you're an absolute filthy whale, and I don't really spend money on shards anymore because it's not worth it. So there you go, guys. That's the path. I don't think it's that good a path. I don't think it's so bad that it's like, oh, what are they thinking? It's the end of the world. It's about what I would have expected to invest if I was doing the bare minimum to get my champion, right? 6 sacred shards, that would have been probably what I would have required for the summon rush. I obviously want to save time, so the excess for me is saving time. And I'm still left with a good 15 sacreds. I might push and get a couple. I might push 5 more, see if I can get lucky and get a second newt. Having a second newt with a Marius is game changing. It would absolutely I'd have to reevaluate all my teams, but it would be pretty game changing. But yeah, we'll see. I kind of don't want to either as well. I feel like as much as a second newt would be really good just to speed run stuff, it would make it so that there's less reason to build anything new in the game, and I might get bored. So I feel like it's a temptation that I don't want to achieve. But there we go. Let me know in the comments below, guys. What are you feeling about this this path? You know, are you going for the 10 just to get it done? Did you decide to save some time? Did you do 3+1 so you only have to do a little bit of something else? Let me know in the comments below. And if you did pull, did you get any legendaries? I've seen a couple of my community pick up this Ieyasu. I think he's really cool. I don't think he's like broken strong, but I think he's just super cool. And he looks pretty awesome. So let me know in the comments below, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.